It is I, Octane, and this is the Minutes Podcast. And I am going to be very low-key about this, that I am not going to up the production value. I'm lying, I might, but the way I was going about it, not good. So, what I will do is talk about it on TikTok Live and then just post it on everything else and maybe clip it down. But today's flavoring is a movie that I did not see. But imagine it is 36 years ago. You look to your left, then you look to your right. Everybody has kind of shoulder-length hair. Everybody is optimistic. The internet is a cool thing that you're now finding out about stuff. You can buy stuff on a thing called Amazon. Can you imagine? Or, check this out. 1994 was the emergence of, AT&T and all the other telecom companies says, not only can you talk to your grandma on the phone, you can watch your grandma on the phone. And damn it, if we didn't have almost damn near 40 years later, we are literally looking at each other on a video screen. No tapes or things, it's just information that just collects in a primordial pool of techno-funk that you can later distribute it to the world. But then you realize everybody and their mother does it. So now you're just lost in an endless sea of techno minutia. But this is not what this is about. This is about law. It may seem boring to many, interesting to me. And I bring you the movie Disclosure. It is a movie created in 1994. And upon my notes and research, I got them laying around here somewhere. Are these my notes? Are these my notes? Yes. These are my notes. Movie directed by Barry Livingston, starring the prolific, top-notch coochie eater, Michael Douglas, she even fine now when she's like 60. She just did a movie called The Substance. Demi Moore, when she was young and fine, as a woman named Meredith Johnson. Donald Sutherland, and if you are a comedy fan, we're going to throw in one Mr. Dennis Miller, who also makes an appearance in there. And if you remember Dennis Miller, he was a commentator on Monday Night Football briefly, and he wasn't a good fit, but he was better than Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh had it, but he kind of he kind of like decided to like take that extra leap and make a comment about something. Just go out of your way and say something about being anti-woke because you didn't like. Let's just keep it funky. You was just kind of being racist. Thought you could get away with it, and the NFL wasn't playing that. And you kind of fumbled your bag, Rush Limbaugh. Shout out to Rush Limbaugh, you dickhead. Anyway, so aside from that, Dennis Miller is not a major player in this movie. I just appreciate his comedy because he is a really intelligent comic, and I wish him only the best. I hope to see him soon do some stuff. Anyway, this movie. First off, it takes place in an office in Seattle. And that's the thing that I liked about this movie. First off the gate, that I love the 1994 aesthetic. I love the 90s aesthetic. They were doing the whole it's brand new tech. The internet world, the internet business was booming. Tech, the way they took data and stored data and moved data. That was the secondary basically storyline, that it was surrounding tech. It was about a tech firm. But the main story was about, and like I said, I give spoilers here. This movie came out 36 years ago. Grow up. Enjoy the journey. So the main premise of the movie was that Michael Douglas, he was a family man. He's a tech CEO. He runs a whole division of technology, and that whole division was working on this project where they can take files and you can deal with files from your office in real time. With that being said, the business that he was in was also getting ready to merge with another bigger conglomerate. And usually when you have, oh sorry, I'm bumping my desk. When you have mergers in the corporate world, a lot of times it'll be like this. You'll have something that has, you'll have a company that has a lot of money to be had, and a lot of capital. And a lot of times you'll have these big capital companies, or basically like banks, and they'll look for new tech because they want to have the foothold to make more money. But the tech is new, brand new, fresh. And what you do is you merge because you can be able to scale the tech. So however much money that they took to build it over here in this company that's an upstart and blowing up, and probably a multi-million-dollar company, they use the scale to basically make it more cost-effective for the consumer, the average everyday consumer. But upon that, Michael Douglas created this file system, and then they're talking about the merger, and Michael Douglas knows he's a shoo-in. He is a shoo-in for this, and he plays a character. I'm going to go back through my notes. We're going to go back through the cast. The cast. Michael Douglas, a man named Tom Sanders. He plays Tom Sanders. Okay? Not prolific coochie eater Michael Douglas, but Tom Sanders, the CEO. And the plot of the movie basically goes like this. He is the CEO of a company called Digicom, right? He's a happily married man. He plans to retire following this merger. He was going to get a lot of money. He was going to take the buyout. He was going to live comfortable in Seattle with a nice brick house near the ocean, looking at the Pacific, the North Pacific Sea, you know. And then he realizes that his ex-girlfriend, ex-woman he had a very sexually prolific relationship with, is also in the corporate world, becomes pegged to be the new CEO of his division, or president of his division, following this big merger, right? And the boss, who is played by Donald Sutherland, who is also kind of like a man who, his name is Bob Garvin, by the way. Bob Garvin, by the way, who is, he's like this really sharp, he's from the other era, the previous era of being an industrialist, the cold-blooded robber baron, with the suit, and takes no shit, takes no prisoners, The man who basically, he probably got a lift off in the mid-'70s, and then when the '80s came in, the money was hand over fist and piling to the, he made a lot of money and built a lot of companies, right? So anyway, so he brings in this woman, and Michael Douglas, Tom Sanders, he's just like, wow, dang, that used to be my ex thing, you know what I'm saying? My little thing. And so he's trying to make an amends to her because they did have a split. And then they go and have this, they go and try to have a meeting, and they're talking and everything. And then they decide to have like just a late night quick little meeting that kind of gets a little frisky-disky, you know what I'm saying? And Meredith decides to kind of advance the situation and make things a little more awkward. So when that happens, I'm talking about they kind of, she asked for that back rub. She asked for the back rub, and this is how babies start. You know what I'm saying? If you ever feel like a loser, if you ever feel bad about yourself in life, just know that at one point you started off as a back rub that turned into a butt massage that went on to other things. And this is what happened here. But then Michael Douglas, which I think he is so good at, he's over dramatic when he don't want no coochie. He's like, no, baby, I got a wife. The lady already put it in her mouth and kissed on it, tipped it off. And then she got mad. Oh, you put it in the boom, boom, boom. And he's like, nah, I can't be doing all this. So he tried to get up out of there. And then this is when the bullshit start happening. Demi Moore get mad because he turned her down. And she was trying to re-spark some things. She gives him the wrong time on the meeting and gives him some wrong files. So when the next day he shows up hella late because they bumped the meeting up, no memos or nothing like that, and basically she starts playing these games with him. So then he shows up late, and then now he's looking crazy and incompetent because they're switching things around behind his back without informing him. And so he's made to look and incompetent in front of the people who are trying to merge with this company. And then on top of that, on the flip side, then she starts kicking around a sexual harassment suit. And this is, I think, is also one of those sign of the times. I think it's kind of like, you know how art is imitating real life. The 90s, I remember there used to be commercials back in the late 80s or mainly in the 90s though, about how relationships are supposed to, the man and the woman relationship dynamic is supposed to work in an office corporate setting, that you're supposed to be, you know, they want you to conduct yourself in a more formal way, and not get too comfortable with each other, because if somebody doesn't want the other advances, it becomes sexual harassment. And Demi Moore's character, Meredith Johnston, that seemed to be like her MO to come up in the world. I think she kind of, because it is revealed later on, but she basically was a character who was a woman in the corporate world, and she played the victim, saying that, oh yeah, these men would try to take advantage of me, and I can't function because everybody is trying to finagle me. By the way, on the flip side, when I'm jumping around and I am very scatterbrained, I did have this list because of the director who made this movie, Barry Livingston. He also directed a couple of other movies. He also directed, because we'll get back to the storyline. He directed, by the way, The Natural, Young Sherlock Holmes, Good Morning Vietnam, Rain Man, Bugsy, Toys, Sleepers, and Wag the Dog. He had 6 Oscars and 4 Golden Globes, so that's for his directing skills, which is not bad for a Hollywood director. He got 10 major awards, 6 world championships, 4 intercontinental titles. That's what we say. So, yeah. So then they go into this whole thing, going back to the storyline. So I wanted to mention that. I just wrote that down right before I started to record. So, as they're doing this, then he's getting hit with all sorts of lawsuits. And then he's like, okay, they made me look incompetent, and now they're making me look crazy. And then there's a scene, because he, when the girl came on to him, when Meredith Johnson came on to him, he was so freaked out about the encounter that there's a sequence where he's going to the business and he's wearing a nice suit, and Tom Gavin is in the elevator with him, and they're talking, and Donald Sutherland's character, Tom Gavin, I think, I might be messing up the name, but Donald Sutherland's character proceeds to like fill on his jacket, and he's just like, yeah, I like that. And then he goes, the power's yours, and he goes to kiss him, and Michael Douglas freaks out. He's like, no, and he wakes up, he's having a bad dream that he's getting molested by all of corporate America. But then it becomes more of a nightmare, because I know I'm doing my thing. Thank you. He hold it together, buddy. Don't make me laugh. So anyway, he's freaking out, and it gets even worse. Now he's getting hit with a sexual harassment suit. And then they have this thing, they're sitting in the whole thing. He's like, well, I'm not going to take this job, because they wanted to send them up. They wanted them to take a severance and go to another division in Austin, Texas. and he's like, nah, hell nah, I ain't taking no Texas job. And he's trying to like play it off because like, Meredith Johnson starts was trying to freak on him, and he turned it down, and he just knew he was in for some other shit. You know what I'm saying? So he hold it together. Woo! Okay, so he's having an issue. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you. He's doing this, and then so he's having an issue, and hey, I don't know, the movie, I don't know, you know how it is. Ohana. Oh my goodness gracious. Of course I do. Of course I do. So where am I? So he won't take the severance package. So then they start hitting him with the lawsuit, and Donald Sutherland's character, and there was another guy, I forgot what his name was, that was the other CEO guy. He was just like, yeah, we got to find a way to get him up out of the paint. And he was just like, well, he's not going to take the severance package, and so now he's going to sit there and try to fight it. Now he's going to try to sue us. And Meredith Johnson says, oh, I think I have an idea to keep him from suing us. Let's just tell his wife. And then he was just like, yeah, because he was trying to hide it from his wife. So he brings everything up. They brought it up to his wife, and his wife is, of course, freaking out. She's like, yo, you have a wife and 2 kids, and this woman over here playing on your life. And of course, he talked about some other things. And the poor woman is like, fast forward, because she realizes what the scratches on his chest were from and all that. Then they're having this deposition, because it's like, let's just have a mediation. Let's figure out what we're going to do. We're going to sit here because I don't want to get sued. We're going to be quiet about it. So now they're in this mediation, and this lawyer that Meredith Johnson has is just raking Michael Douglas's character, Tom Sanders. Yeah, of course. It's just raking Tom Sanders over the coals, right? Because the one thing about Michael Douglas, a.k.a. the supreme, prolific coochie eater, Michael Douglas, from what I hear, that's why he had the problems with his throat. He was the greatest eater in Hollywood, from what I hear, is that... is that oh my goodness. Center. Is that, oh my goodness. Is that like, so they're going through the deposition, and they're having a mediation in this office. And by the way, this is what I like about the movie too, is that they had like this very beautiful, it's like they set up an office in an old brick building, and they didn't redo it. They just put up plexiglass and brick. They let the original brick there. So, the set, because the movie basically takes place in his office, other than Michael Douglas going on a ferry, and then his house, and then maybe a hotel later on. But it was just, the building, I don't know what that building is, but it was a beautiful building, old building in Seattle somewhere. It's probably knocked down. So, with that being said, the lawyer that Meredith had was just like, well, you made a joke about your friend, about her giving you a boner, and they were so serious. And I just know that if I had an issue like that, and they're just bringing up a boner, isn't that a euphemism for an erection? I would have lost my shit, man. Like, I mean, and everything is funny to me. Everything is funny to me. And Meredith Johnson's playing the, like, innocent little angel. Boom, boom, boom. She's just like, And then the other thing about it was everything that the lawyer was bringing up, like talking about how his wife had gained weight, because he had talked about, oh, my wife, she never really lost all the weight since we had the second baby. And she's showing the baby pictures, and they have pictures of it, and his poor wife, the woman who played his wife, was just sitting there, just staring daggers of death at Michael Douglas. And bro is just looking at his wife and just having to just get skewered. And they're talking about like the act, and then they talked about the actual incident. Like he was kind of into it. Like she's like getting the shoulder rub, and then he kissed her a little bit, and they got to drinking. And I used to tell people all the time, man. I say, listen, you know, if you're gonna be getting into some freaky deaky shit, you gotta be careful with that. Like you just don't bring substances into this. Things gonna elevate. They're gonna elevate, especially in the corporate world. You know what I'm saying? So they're talking about something. When y'all drinking together? And he was like, yeah. And he goes, when y'all doing this and when y'all doing that? And they was like, yeah. And then they talked about the parts where it was just like, didn't you rip her panties off? And he's like, yeah, I did that, but then, and she sucked it a little bit. And it was just like, yo, you ripped the panties off? And it's just like, bro, what are you doing? And it did show the scene where he pulled the drawers off because he was about to get it popping. And then he just, all of a sudden, just said, just remember he had a wife and kids. He didn't even tip. He didn't even put the tip in. He just like, no. And they brought that all up. And then he was just like, but I wasn't trying to like do something. I just get the R. Kelly. He said, nah, I was trying to, I was just trying to, whatever, man. Like, I was trying to get up out of there. I just kind of realized I didn't want to be there. I just kind of there for the meeting. But then the thing that was crazy was that, like, later on in the deposition, because they were just, like I said, they were going back and forth. And he realized later on that, oh, I did try to call my buddy for something. And his friend was like, that was also a guy that worked in the office. And I think the character that was his friend was also played by the director Barry Livingston, who directed the movie. He, you know, just sometimes a lot of directors do act. But Barry Livingston's character, which I have it on here, but I'm looking at actually I'm not even looking at IMDb. I'm on Wikipedia for this, and there are a lot of people that I don't recognize as far as stars, other than the other just side person, Dennis Miller. So aside from that, oh my goodness, what happened? So aside from that, Dennis Miller's character. So then they're trying to find new ways to kind of derail his career. So the other way they're trying to derail him is through trying to make him look incompetent, because he did find the tape, because they did have another mediation, in the deposition, I guess. I'm probably using the law terms wrong. I'm not a law student, I'm an art student, or I was. So he basically found this tape that was on his friend's answering machine about what really happened. So he played that, and of course Meredith cracked a little bit. So then she was just like, yeah, we got to figure out another way to get him. We're going to figure out another way to get him. But all through this time, as they are going through the movie, he would get these ominous emails about, oh yeah, no, watch out for this, watch out for that, while he was going through things. So in the final part, because since she was kind of found out to kind of be in on the situation, that Michael Douglas wasn't just kind of pressing, but that he kind of regretted getting up in her, he turned around and said, nah, I didn't want it. I wanted it, but I didn't want it, and I kind of just remember my wife and kids. So now Meredith Johnson feels emboldened to derail his career. So in the final straw of this movie, she goes and says, "Oh, let's change how we're going to set up the files for this tech that we have." And when he goes to present it, he'll present some totally different stuff. He won't be with the terms. He'll show the mergers that he ain't with the shits, and then we can fire him. But Michael Douglas caught them saying this thing while she was in the office, whatever. So he goes to the CEO's pre-meeting with the merger people, and he sneaks into the room and starts looking through the files and flipping things around and figuring stuff out, and realized that a lot of the people are going to be working in the manufacturing of these microchips for this tech were out of Malaysia or something or another. It's not important. It's just shoe leather. But, of course, it was a 90s aesthetic where it doesn't show how Michael Douglas would get out of there. It's just, he's there, the people walk in, he kind of sneaks out quick, fast like Batman, and he gets out of there. So then they have the meeting. And then when they have the meeting, he does everything to spec, and then he basically flips the script on Meredith. And Meredith is mad. And then she starts getting up in Michael Douglas's face, and then he's like, no, bitch. What are you doing? That's this, that, the thing. You were changing the files. It wasn't me. I know what I was looking for, and this is what we switched to. And then she starts blowing up, and then she basically made her a fool of herself because she blew up in the meeting in front of him. And then Donald Sutherland's character Tom Gavin says, "Okay, yeah, we'll take her off somewhere, and we'll make her quit because of something else, because she was already in the hot water because she had already been found to had not been harassed, but had consensual in a consensual encounter that Michael Douglas later did not want to have. So, in turn, on the flip side, it turned out Michael Douglas was the one being sexually harassed when he wanted to not go through with it. And then they tried to derail him, and then he flipped the tables again because he just in the nick of time caught what they were trying to do. And then, of course, what's his name? Michael Douglas basically turned the tables and then told Meredith, he's like, well, all this time you trying to set me up, and all I need to do is to set you up one time and you fell apart. What do you know? Go figure. And then, of course, in the movie, Demi Moore, because that's who Meredith Johnson was, Demi Moore's character was just like, oh, I'll be back. This ain't the end of me, motherfucker. I'll be back. Give me 10 years. I'll probably be the CEO buying this off of y'all. I'm going to be your boss one way or another. I'm going to get you. So she didn't have a real, it wasn't really like a total absolution defeat. She just said, oh, I'm tapping out for now, but I'm getting a rematch, and I'm coming back for your ass. And then Michael Douglas figured out that the guy who was the ominous email was Tom Gavin's son, because Tom Gavin elected his wife as the CEO. He's like, well, I wanted a woman. I should have just used the woman I was with instead of hiring Demi Moore, this little young girl. So I got my wife. And then, Michael Douglas went up to the son. He goes, oh, you was the dude. Oh, okay, yeah, good looking out. And they dapped up, and that was the end of the movie. It's disclosure. I liked it. I watched it. I was watching it on and off all day. And, of course, I like the movie. I like weird, nothing movies, slice of life dramas like that, and that was a cool movie. And the thing about that movie is, like I said, I like the 1994 aesthetic, and you can also adapt a movie like that because there wasn't a lot of scene changes. Excuse me, there wasn't a lot of scene changes, so you could do that as a stage play, and that's how I would redo that. I would just have it as a live production, and I think that'll be cool. But I don't even know if I've gone 15 minutes. But, like I said, I did enjoy the movie. It was a cool movie. And I was watching it on a janky Obama Yama phone. This thing don't even have a slot to where I can put a SIM card in. So I'm just at the mercy of shitty Wi-Fi when I watch the movie because I have the Tubi app on here. So I watched it off of Tubi amongst J.G. Wentworth and Lowe's ads. That did not take me out of the movie. So Movie was solid. I don't know. I don't even think this movie was nominated for nothing because it was like one of these forgotten movies, and that is like the MO of the Minutes podcast for now until I start doing some other shit. Other times it was just me reviewing my music. Now I'm just reviewing obscure movies. By the way, before you guys go, also physical copies of Diabolical Hideaway. Me and my boy Grizzly Savage doing our thing. We have still got some copies of White Tiger Wars. That's a whole thing. Repress, courtesy of a label I'm affiliated with out of England called Maison de Funk. With the head CEO. Shout out to said CEO Black Medici. Shout out to Grand Hova. And these records are all streaming, courtesy of one of Maison de Funk and Sabasun Media. And if you don't stream my music, you will bum and you play with PPs. So yeah, that has been conclusion of the movie review. Disclosure. Where have I been? I just been chilling. I've been studying. Hey, listen, I'm about to test. I'm testing for my black belt. So that's what I'm. What do you want? Yeah, I'll let you get a copy though. I'll let you get a copy. But yeah, I've been testing for my black belt. I've been in the temple. I've been in the temple trying to get my body right, so I can ascend to the next level and become a go on to the path of being a master karate man. Right now, I'm a junior karate man. I'm on the path of being a junior karate man officially. But I'm trying to spend some years becoming a master of it. But it's gonna take a whole lifetime because there is no limit to karate. So that's where I've been. I will come by to see you. I just been, like I said, jammed up. Trying to get tough, but I tell you what. After I jump off this live, I will hit you up in the inbox and I'll chat with you for a little bit. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here on this live. And like I said, we got the White Tiger Wars for sale still. We've got this one right here for Righteous Killers. The reprint by Maison de Funk out of England. And I'm getting some more stuff in. My trunks. I'm trying to get out of them trunks. I'm trying to switch my tights up. I probably switch to like long tights or something. Or maybe some bike shorts. But I'm going to sign off. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace to my group chat.